Well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated. But I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now, is that?
Let me tell you, when politics and entertainment mix, the drama often reaches a whole new level. That's exactly what's happening right now, with a legal battle shaking up daytime television and political circles. John Fetterman, the outspoken Democratic senator from Pennsylvania, has taken a bold step by filing a defamation lawsuit, and the person he's targeting, none other than Sunny Hostin, one of the most recognizable voices on The View. Fetterman claims that Sunny, alongside the producers of the show, crossed a line during one of their episodes. What was supposed to be a typical day of lively political debates quickly turned into something far more serious. This isn't just a celebrity feud, it's a situation that's sparking conversations about media responsibility, ethical reporting, and where we draw the line between opinion and defamation.
America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
John Fetterman is not one to shy away from the spotlight. Over the years, he has established himself as a fearless advocate for justice and equality, taking on problems that others may ignore. Whether he's working for the underrepresented or pointing out injustices, his dedication to justice is evident. He is also someone who does not mince words, and his honesty has earned him respect in many circles.
They'll say that about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is weaponized also.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial. And now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like, now he's a convicted felon and those things. And now for our party, we were talking about criminal justice, and we are now talking about second chances. And now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things. And now clearly, again, both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump, that was politically motivated, and those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could realize that they could weaponize that.
When Fetterman appeared on The View, most people expected the usual back and forth on hot-button topics like politics and current events. After all, The View is famous for hosting passionate debates, with its panelists often disagreeing in dramatic fashion. Fetterman fit right into that mold, bringing his characteristic directness to the table. But what caught everyone off guard was how quickly the tone shifted during his segment. Sunny Hostin, who is known for being opinionated, allegedly made comments that Fetterman found deeply offensive. It wasn't just a heated exchange, it felt personal. That moment would soon spiral into a legal confrontation that's now making waves. The defamation claim Fetterman's lawsuit is based on his argument that Sunny Hostin's words harmed his reputation in ways that extend far beyond a mere disagreement. He claims that her statements were not only detrimental, but also defamatory, painting a false and destructive picture of him to millions of people. Not only is he holding Sunny accountable, but he is also charging The View's producers of incompetence for allowing the statements to go unchecked.
We'll also have plans to work with the administration as to how to remedy a lot of the death and destruction that happened in Gaza as well. I know you've spoken about that. Let me ask you this, though. Since Trump's win, there's been a lot of soul searching on the Democratic side, people needing answers on what went wrong. Do you think that is helpful? And do you think there should also be some soul searching on the Republican side who need to analyze why they would nominate a convicted felon who ran on lies, threats of retribution, and concepts of a plan?
Well, I haven't spent any of my time after the election freaking out or just thinking about. Here's where we are, and I would like to remind everybody that that's the way democracy works. I was warning people that before the election that you have the risk. If Trump wins, then he's going to get the House, he's going to have the Senate, and now you have the Supreme Court with a strong conservative slant now too. So here's we are, and for the next 2 years, Trump and the GOP is going to be able to drive this narrative. That's undeniable. That's a fact as well too. And the last, kind of like that emergency break right now is the filibuster in the Senate. And then otherwise they'll be able to just run any kinds of laws through Congress, and now the Supreme Court would likely back them up as well too.
To put this into perspective, defamation is a serious legal accusation. It goes beyond hurt feelings or disagreements. It's about statements that can harm someone's reputation or career in tangible ways. Fetterman believes Sonny's remarks cross that line, leaving him no choice but to take legal action. The lawsuit also raises fundamental issues concerning media ethics. In today's fast-paced world of 24-hour news and viral sound bites, the media exercises enormous influence over public perception. Fetterman's case demonstrates how power may sometimes blur the distinction between free speech and defamation, pushing us to evaluate the responsibility that comes with such a broad platform. Broader issues. This legal struggle is about more than simply Fetterman and Sonny Hostin. It highlights far greater issues that touch all of us. For starters, it raises questions about media duty. With millions of viewers turning in every day, The View has a huge impact on public opinion. When a show with such a broad reach makes a mistake, the consequences can be immense.
So this is definitely going to go in a direction that I'm a lot of Democrats aren't going to agree with that, but I'm going to be a part of that conversation. And there's going to be plenty of people that are going to freak out, or they're going to have these kinds of extreme reactions. But I won't be one of them, but I'm going to react, and I'm going to be very selective on picking my own fights on that. And I just have to, I think two things are true at the same time, whether it's like the border or whether it's with abortion or other these kinds of issues.
At the same time, this case highlights the ongoing conflict between free expression and defamation. People should be free to voice their thoughts, but what happens if such opinions destroy someone's reputation? Where do we draw the line between personal expression and accountability? These are the questions that Fetterman's case is forcing us to consider.
But I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be that Democrat. For me, there's things I'm going to agree with, I'm going to disagree with, but I'm in the business of finding wins for Pennsylvania and for the nation, and engaging the president. I think I see that as doing my job.
The outcome of this case may even create a precedent for future interactions between public officials and the media. If Fetterman succeeds, it may inspire others to hold media outlets accountable for their statements. On the other hand, it may make journalists and pundits more hesitant about speaking openly, thereby changing the landscape of modern journalism. The role of Sonny Hostin.
Now, there are those on the left who feel like you have made a rightward shift recently, going to Mar-a-Lago, joining Truth Social, your positions on issues like immigration, fracking. What do you say to those who are now, in a sense, questioning your commitment to the Democratic Party?
Oh, well, first I want to just say I am so sorry for what happened to that officer. I mean, he's had a heart attack. His life, he almost died. I mean, I've had a stroke. Same thing. Absolute empathy, and just appalled for what I witnessing what happened on January 6th. And I absolutely would reject pardoning people that were involved on that. And so right word, that's just happened not to be true. I've been on record too saying I am not going to become a Republican, although maybe some people might be happy on one side, but I would make a pretty terrible Republican because, pro-choice, pro-really strong immigration, pro-LGBTQ.
Sonny Hostin is no stranger to controversies. As one of The View's most prominent voices, she has made a career out of speaking her thoughts, frequently jumping headfirst into debates that others might avoid. Her opinions is part of what makes her such an appealing figure on the program, but it also gets her in trouble from time to time. This time, the stakes are especially high. The central question in the complaint is whether Sonny's words regarding Fetterman were simply her opinion or exceeded the line into defamation. That distinction will most likely play a significant role in how this issue plays out in court. Public figures like Sonny are frequently scrutinized for their words, and while free speech is a fundamental right, it does not provide immunity from accountability. Sonny's comments are now being scrutinized, and this case could prove crucial not only for her, but also for how media celebrities walk the narrow line between strong criticism and destructive statements. To be clear, John Fetterman's lawsuit isn't just about his reputation. It's a call for accountability. He believes media platforms, especially those as influential as The View, have a responsibility to use their reach carefully. For Fetterman, this case isn't just personal. It's about reminding the media of the immense power they hold in shaping public opinion and discourse. He's advocating for a level of respect and responsibility that he feels has been overlooked in this situation. This case puts a spotlight on ethical journalism. Fetterman's stance is forcing many to think think about how media outlets handle controversial remarks and whether they should adopt stricter policies to ensure fairness and accuracy. The lawsuit brings attention to the need for clear boundaries between candid discussions and statements that could cause real harm. It's a wake-up call for media platforms to reflect on their practices and the potential consequences of their content. For journalism as a whole, this case could have lasting effects. It might prompt changes in how sensitive topics are approached on high-profile platforms. If Fetterman's lawsuit succeeds, it could lead to more caution in commentary, potentially reshaping how controversial opinions are shared. It's a moment that could redefine the standards for responsible journalism, not just on TV, but across all media outlets. The tension between politics and the media is nothing new, but this case is a reminder of how quickly narratives can escalate. Fetterman's lawsuit highlights how misinformation or reckless commentary can spread and erode public trust. In a world where news travels at the speed of a click, the stakes are higher than ever. The media's ability to influence public perception means that accuracy and fairness must always come first. This situation is also tapping into a larger cultural conversation about journalism's fairness. Many people feel that media platforms don't always represent the full picture or consider the real-world impact of their stories. Fetterman's case resonates with those concerns, especially in an era where political divides and online commentary dominate our lives. It's a reflection of how deeply connected media and culture have become, and the growing demand for transparency in reporting. The possible outcomes of this lawsuit could set a major precedent. If the courts side with Fetterman, it might push media outlets to tighten their editorial standards to avoid potential lawsuits. On the other hand, it could lead to a chilling effect where media figures become overly cautious, limiting open discussions. Either way, this case is bound to influence how public figures are covered and how much accountability is placed on those delivering the news. This situation has also sparked heated public debates. Some people wonder if Fetterman is overreacting or if his lawsuit is justified. Is it fair to hold Sunny Hostin and The View accountable for a moment of careless commentary, or does this threaten free speech? It's a question that doesn't have easy answers and speaks to the heart of what many see as the fine line between expressing opinions and causing harm.
For me, it's like I would like to remind everybody that are watching this that Trump won, and now he's going to have control of the House and my chamber and the Senate. And now he'll also is going to have a Supreme Court that is a strong conservative slant too. Now he gets to pick all these nominees. And I'm not going to get worked up about a nominee when the Republicans haven't even decided that that's who I really want to have at this point. Now there's some people now until they're all doing it's all about the math. With the second they have 50 votes, that person's going to the floor, and then they're going to be the next person. That's guaranteed because Vance will be there to break the tie on through that. So until they can even work it out on their side, I'm not going to get worked crazy or freak out about every nominee. And I'd like to remind that they get to pick the people, and we're going to be in the majority, and that's how this works.
The larger question right now is how much caution media figures should exercise. With millions of people tuning in, every word carries weight, especially when it involves public figures like Fetterman. But if the media becomes too restricted, does it risk losing its ability to challenge power and spark necessary conversations? These debates are what make this case so compelling. It's about more than just the individuals involved. For viewers, this lawsuit is a reminder of how powerful and influential media can be. The public is left wondering whether changes need to be made to hold media figures accountable without stifling their voices. It's a complex situation that raises broader questions about ethics, responsibility, and the balance between speaking freely and protecting reputations. Broader legal and media context. From a legal standpoint, this case delves into the murky waters of where opinion ends and slander begins. The courts will have to consider how much of Sunny's remarks were her personal views versus statements that crossed a legal boundary. It's a delicate process that underscores the importance of due diligence when evaluating claims like these. This isn't the first time a major media platform has faced scrutiny, but it's part of a growing trend. Platforms like The View are under increasing pressure to maintain a balance between engaging content and responsible reporting. As viewers become more vocal about the impact of misinformation, the demand for accountability is only growing. People are paying closer attention to how influential platforms navigate politically charged discussions. The appetite for holding the media accountable is clear, but so is the desire for open and honest conversations. Finding a balance between the two is a challenge that will likely define how cases like this shape media practices moving forward. All eyes are now on the developments in this case. It's a situation that combines law, politics, and media ethics, creating a storm of controversy. Whatever the outcome, it will send ripples through the worlds of journalism and public discourse, reminding everyone of the high stakes involved when media and politics collide.